Hello, I'm Jordan Guth, host of seasons 2 through 4 of the SoundStage Audiophile podcast. In fact, today there's a new podcast episode with Ian Cahoon, which we recorded on a lake in the beautiful resort area of Muskoka, Ontario, Canada. Ian founded Axiom Audio in 1980, but now his company not only owns Axiom, but also Bryston and Magnum Dynlab. In the podcast episode, Ian talks about the benefits of having products made in Canada and gives his take on the tariffs impacting so many companies. Check it out on all the major podcasting services. Now today, I'm here to tell you what's new on the SoundStage network for August 1st. Over on SoundStage Australia, editor Edgar Kramer reviews the Prima Luna Evo 300 hybrid power amplifier. Edgar describes how the amplifier's topology aims to merge the expressive warmth of 6 12AU7 vacuum tubes in the input stage with the power and authority of MOSFETs in the output stage, while noting the Evo 300 hybrid's high build quality and relative affordability. Edgar states, Prima Luna's Evo 300 hybrid power amplifier stands poised to bring high-end audio reproduction within reach of a broad and what should surely be a receptive network of music lovers. Also on SoundStage Australia, analog specialist Mark Busby reviews the Sky Analog G1 Mark II moving coil cartridge. Mark found the G1 Mark II offered great dynamic power and slam, retaining musical bass subtleties that some cartridges can gloss over with a sameness of sound, and concluded that the G1 Mark II is one very quiet transducer. How do you spin vinyl through a hi-fi setup with only digital inputs? That's the problem Roger Cano faced when he upgraded his analog front end with a new Technics turntable. Roger's Lingdorf Audio MP40 2.1 multi-channel processor has HDMI ARC, USB, SPDIF, and Ethernet inputs, but no analog inputs. The solution was to add a small component that combines a phonostage and an analog to digital converter. Roger explains how he made this work in an upcoming blog post on SoundStage Global. On SoundStage Ultra, senior editor Jason Thorpe reviews Ortafon's MCX40 moving coil cartridge. Announced at High-End 2025, the MCX40 is the top model in Ortafon's new MCX series, but its price is surprisingly low for a cartridge with a boron cantilever, Shibata stylus, and coils wound with high-purity silver wire. This is a fantastic cartridge for any price, Jason writes, and then elaborates. Part of the reason why I'm calling everyone I know and telling them about this cartridge is the atom-smashing value it represents. Before Jason started his gig as senior editor of Ultra, Doug Schneider warned him that he could expect to see a ton of review equipment cycling through his Toronto townhome. The flood became a torrent just as Jason was preparing for an overseas trip to visit Project Audio Systems and its sister brand European Audio Team, followed by a visit to cable specialists Siltec and Crystal Cable. I can't see the bottom, Jason confesses, then adds, but that's okay, it keeps me on my toes. I'm excited to see what goes on at the Siltec Crystal and Project EAT facilities. Once I'm moving, it'll all come together. On SoundStage Access, Dennis Berger reviews KEF's Ventura 6 CI series outdoor speaker, which combines a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter and a 6.5-inch polypropylene woofer. The Ventura 6 speaker practically bathed my patio and small backyard with detailed, sparkling sound that had exactly the right amount of bass and a bit more high-end than I'm used to hearing. But not in a bad way, Dennis writes, then concludes. I think the Ventura 6 is a good value, and I'm a little sad to see this pair go back to the manufacturer. I think I might have to be replacing them sooner rather than later. Until this month, we never reviewed an outdoor speaker on the SoundStage network. As he explained in his monthly editorial, Dennis had to use some installation smarts so he could evaluate the KEF speakers in his backyard. Something else SoundStage has never done is review a component that's been on the market for 2 decades. But when he learned that Anthem is still selling the P2 power amp it introduced back in 2005, Doug Schneider wanted to see how well this 325 watt per channel design has stood the test of time. Very well indeed, he discovered. The P2 sounded excellent at any output level, Doug writes. Not just for the money, but in absolute terms, which means Anthem aced the original design. I think Anthem could keep selling the P2 unchanged for another 20 years, and it would still hold up. Doug recently returned from a trip to China, where he visited Gore Dynamics, Dyne Audio's parent company. This was Doug's first trip in China, but over the years he's visited dozens of manufacturers in North America and Europe. On these unscripted visits, companies typically let Doug and his crew explore factory floors and design labs. That's how we get the real stories, Doug states. On the opening day of High-End 2025, Kobuzz announced Kobuzz Connect, a feature that lets users queue up music in the Kobuzz app and then transfer playback to a component that supports Kobuzz Connect. Tidal and Spotify also have Connect features. As Gordon Brockhouse notes in a feature on SoundStage Simplify, that raises an interesting question. Does it make sense to use your streaming service's app rather than a full-blown music app like Rune or Ottervana? This month on SoundStage Experience, we have a massive feature by music editor Joseph Taylor on the life and recorded output of Leonard Cohen. Cohen was a mass of contradictions, and a more interesting artist because of them, Joseph writes, then concludes. He never had any easy answers and never tried to provide any. He simply asked questions that invited us to find our own way. On SoundStage Solo, senior editor Jeffrey Morris reviews Noble Audio's Focus Rex 5 true wireless earphones. This is a very ambitious design. Each earbud contains a 10mm dynamic driver, a 6mm planar magnetic driver, and 3 balanced armature drivers. Jeffrey calls the Focus Rex 5 one of the best Bluetooth earbuds I've ever heard, and they're not even that expensive. What a win. Like Doug, Jeffrey has been spending some time in Asia lately. While in Tokyo, he visited a branch of Yodobashi Camera, a huge store with 8 stories, each the size of a North American superstore, and each dedicated to a product category like hi-fi, TVs, computers, headphones, and cameras. Jeffrey calls Yodobashi Camera a place that all gearheads and tech nerds must visit at least once in their lives. Here are some of the coming attractions on the SoundStage network. On September 1st, you can read Dennis Berger's review of Magnetar's UDP 800 Universal Disc Player on SoundStage Access, and AJ Weich's review of the Eversolo Play Streaming Integrated Amplifier on SoundStage Simplify. Also on September 1st, Joseph Taylor offers up record suggestions for new vinyl collectors on SoundStage Experience. Coming this fall on SoundStage Hi-Fi is George Desaw's review of Focal's amazing Diva Utopia. That's all for now. But I want to remind you to check out our YouTube channel for videos from all the trips we've been on. One of our newest videos is about Dyne Audio's Jupiter loudspeaker measurement room, which you have to see for yourself to believe. It's one of the coolest spaces I've ever been in. Thanks for watching, and see you on August 15th.